Yes, we're steady.
Big.
You know, it always slows up a little bit.
Good, sir.
Hey, Don. So Jeremy got extra 10. You got extra 10. It slows up a little bit this year, but you know what I'm talking
I
about.
know exactly. Years in I'm familiar with it.
I'm worried.
Yeah, when I see them do something like that, I say, I got you now.
Firepower here. Y'all ready?
Yes, sir.
Good morning to everyone. If you would, please join me in the pledge to the flag, would you, please? Commissioner Rogers.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Ladies and gentlemen, commissioners, thank you for taking time to come out this morning. This is a orientation meeting, a couple of the ground rules. Mr. Butler here has the agenda that we'll follow. Now understand there will be no motions today. There will be no votes. This is just an informational meeting and just to hopefully get the new commissioners up to speed on some things and, you know, just some good information for the people. So having said that, Mr. Butler, will you please take the lead on this?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, we slated a couple hours from 9 to 11, and we all like to start on time and end on time, and we got a couple of things going on after this meeting, so hopefully we can stay on track. The number of people you see on this list, this is your staff, department heads.
I hear.
Yes, sir. And when I get done, mine's gonna take a little bit more than 5 minutes, but we really only have about 5 minutes apiece for
Okay.
everyone. And,
That's great.
And some have handouts, some don't have handouts. So, and we're gonna try to get the information to you as quick as we can, or the best way we can in 2 hours' time. Did talk to Madam Clerk, and she was gracious enough to, she's the clerk to the Board of County Commissioners and has a big role to play in what we do. So she's on this list after me.
Fine.
But the front page there is everyone that's here today is going to speak to the board. And what I'm going to do, we could take any one of these items. We could talk 2 hours about one item, and I'm going to go through it. And please stop me when we need to ask questions or something. Probably going to be a lot more time after this meeting than it will be during the meeting. But we're here, staff's here as long as this board wants us here to. You know, we plan on 2 hours. I know people work and want to get back to work, one thing or another. But, you know, where do you start? We could really talk for a day or two on this. But county website, and not that you don't know this, but they want to say it maybe for the public, maybe for the TV audience to see it. The county website, which is govcountygovernment.com. There's a lot of good information there. The website's going through a transition. It's being updated. This website is probably 15, 20 years old. And back then, I think it probably cost $2,500. And we put in some money into one that's going to be a much more friendly website, a lot more content than what's on there today. Last board meeting, we live streamed. And you can go back and look how many people used it. And as time goes on, we assume there's going to be a lot more people using the live stream. And not immediately, but within hours after then, you can go back and watch the video of that meeting. On the county website, the past, few years, videos are on there, and also the past several years, I think from 2002, minutes are on the website. So if anyone wants to go back and read the minutes or either watch the video, either way, the most recent ones are on there. Application for advisory board appointments, you can download a copy of the application there for your TEC and your EDA and PDRB and the boards that advise you. You can go in there and download the application, fill it in if you're interested in one of those positions. The recent year's budgets are on there. The recent year's audits are on there. The last 6 years of audits, our budgets is on the website. From 01, 02 to the current audits is on the website. And got a copy of the audit because you guys know the audit is probably 3 inches thick, and the budget is 1.5 inches thick. But all that's on the website. The departmental information, there's a lot of information on all your departments. That's being renovated, it's being updated. It's going to be a lot more friendlier for you to use and also for the public to use. And that website has saved a lot of phone calls. A lot of times you can go in there and get information that ordinarily you have to call us and talk to us about what you need. This way you just get it off the website. The budget, next item is budget. This year we got a $53 million budget. Of that $53 million, there's 11.2 is ad valorem tax. And big difference between 53 million and 11 million. The other 42 is made up of fuel taxes, permits, state grants, federal grants, state share revenue, and other miscellaneous revenue. There's a lot in there above and beyond the 11 million ad valorem tax. The budgeting process, we start doing the work like probably the first week in March. Sometimes in February, but more likely the first week in March. Be the first, and that workshop, it's not a board workshop. It is a county staff level. The chairman typically sits in, has for the last several years, sit in for those meetings. We have several meetings before we get to the point in time that we have to have a budget turned in, like the first day of June, to the clerk. The probably, if I had to guess, probably 3 or 4 meetings we'll have to determine what might best be in the budget. As you can guess, when the requests come in, sometimes there may be $1 million or $2 million additional requests. There's a lot more need than there is money. So then we have to pare it down to something, because typically we try to keep it within the range of the current millage rate. Last couple of years, we've grown a little bit, 3 or 4%, 4 or 5%, and it has helped out. The years before that it was going the wrong way, it was going a different way, going back. But once the budget is complete, we have a policy on purchasing, and adopted policy, adopted by the board, how we go about buying from that budget. And also we have, if it's a large purchase, we have a policy on bid. What threshold do we, when we get to a threshold, when must we bid? Because we can buy a lot of things without bidding, but when it gets to a certain level, that board-approved policy on bidding is what we go by. Travel is subject to travel policy, whether it be your the amount per mile that if you use a private-owned vehicle, if what your per diem is, if you're out of town traveling, what your per diem is, all that is already predetermined either through state statute or board policy, and that's what we have to go by. Next item, Public Works. The non-supervisory people at Public Works are represented by a union, by the AFL-CIO. Your current contract with the union is up in September 2017. So we've got this next year, and then we have to negotiate another contract. And we've been the last few years working on 3-year contracts. And there hasn't been a whole lot of change in the union contract in the last few years, other than a monetary change on pay. And typically in the last few years, the union has accepted whatever the board is able to do it in the form of pay raise. If there's no pay raise, then there's no pay raise. If there is a pay raise, they get that same raise. So it's been pretty simple the last few years on the union. But we do have a union. We have to deal with the union. We have to follow the procedures outlined in that agreement between that bargaining unit and the county commission. Landfill is almost complete. Mark can give you a real good when he gets up and talk. Landfill made a big change in life. What we do in county business dealing with landfill. We, like I say, at some point in time here in the very near future, DEP will officially certify the landfill to be closed. With that landfill closed, that preempted the process to close the landfill preempted the idea of going in and getting a transfer station. And the transfer station has been something the county could have operated or a contractor operated. So we got out bid and we got a contract with Waste Pro, and they put a transfer station in that we didn't have to build, they built. And we're closing the landfill, as everyone knows, to carry your material down, you go down the same road. Instead of turning right, you turn left, go across transfer station scales. And that's, that was a 5-year base contract with up to 3 2-year terms. Afterwards, it started like in the end of May of 14, and 5 years later is the end of that base contract, and it couldn't go 2, 4, or 6 more years in addition to that. Mutual agreement between the county commission and the contractor. Next page of that handout I gave you, county's got 9 volunteer fire departments. There's 11 in the county, but there's 9 in unincorporated county and 2 in the cities. The county commission is also the fire commission, and on those, there's some places there is a fire commission. You wear a hat for this one too. The neither city is in the county fire control district. We have 4 fire control districts: St. Joe Fire Control, Tupelo Fire Control, Overstreet Fire Control, and Hires Creek Fire Control. And if you break it down into political districts, District 1 has 2 fire departments. District 2 has 2 fire departments. District 3 has 4 fire departments. District 4 has no fire departments. And District 5 has 1 fire department with 2 locations, which is the same thing, having 2 fire departments. If you turn in the map, you don't have to look at it, but there's a map in there on your handout of your political district. And the reason I want to put that map in there is show you the districts as they are today, the population of the district as it is today, and then that can only be changed in odd number of years. It can be changed in 17, 19, 21, 23. Cannot be changed in an even number of years. And Mr. Attorney can give you detail on that. But you see, if you take all those numbers, those 5 numbers, and add them up, the average is like 2504. If you was trying to equalize the districts at some point in time, and that's left up to the board to do or not do. 2504 would be the average. The hard part comes is where do you draw those lines? So the next item on my list here is gasoline tax, and this is something that comes up every month or two. Somebody, what people see, you go in Panama City and you buy fuel, and you can buy it probably a quarter of a gallon cheaper than you can in Gulf County, and sometime it looks like maybe Gulf County must have a larger tax than Bay County does. Our tax is identical to Bay County. We have the same 6 pennies on the first local option. Neither county has any pennies on the second local option, and we both have the what they call the 9 cent. And that's what we have. There's no difference in the federal tax is identical in both counties, and the only difference is what the vendor charges the supplier in Gulf County as to Bay County. And the tax part is not it. There's nothing to do with the tax. It's for the difference in the fuel. And that's something that comes up, and I know you guys are going to hear it. If you haven't, you will hear it. 14 counties of the 67 counties have a lower tax rate than Gulf County. And the 14 counties have 6 pennies instead of 7 pennies on the gallon. 30 counties are higher than Gulf County on the amount of gas tax, fuel tax. And those 30 counties have got over into the second local option, and when you can have 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5 pennies, any one of those, you know. But anyway, there's 14 lower in Guth County, there's 30 counties higher in Guth County. And then the remaining counties, well, most of the counties are the same, just like we are, including Bay and Guth and Franklin and the surrounding counties. We all have the same thing. Local sales tax, you have an additional penny that this board has put with a supermajority vote. The board can do some things, and a half cent of that, 1/2 penny of that, 1/2% of that is going for the hospital to pay our agreement with the hospital to get Sacred Heart here. At the time it was done, the other 1/2 penny was to handle solid waste in the county. Each city gets their 1/2 cent. Guth County gets 1/2 cent for solid waste, and that's why we have 7% instead of 6% when we go buy a candy bar. The next one is, I called yesterday and I confirmed this with the property appraiser. This is what Florida Tax Watch and the Department of Revenue put out, and for all 67 counties. Guth County collects tax on 59% of the taxable property, which, simple math, 41% of a taxable property is not taxed in Guth County. Does not mean that 41% of people don't pay tax, but if I take myself as an example, I have a homestead exemption on my house. So the amount that I'm exempt is part of that 41%. And most people that have homestead exemption do pay tax on a lower amount than the value of that house. And so, but the point is, 41% of the taxable property in Guth County is not taxed. And it may be the homestead exemption, it may be the senior exemption, may be the veterans exemption, may be the disability exemption. And I think the last thing come across the ballot was due with the first responders. And there's one thing for sure, every time you exempt a group, then that means the rest of everyone has to pick up the slack in it. So, but when you look at the whole list, all 67 counties, the Walton County is taxing the most percentage of taxable value, and it's a lot of new construction in Walton County in the last 10 or 15 years, and they tax 80%. We're taxing 59%. You get down to Glades County, they only receiving tax off of 17% of the taxable value. So by far the majority of everything they have is off tax roll in Glades County. But anyway, just a number that in a way it means something, in a way it doesn't mean anything, but 41% of our taxable property is not taxed. This last item I have here, it came up and I figured I'd put it down just to give everybody an idea. The committees and boards that the chairman typically represents the Board of County Commissioners on. And Mr. Chairman, I had to talk to you about this. I put it on the list, but this is something of importance. Typically, the chairman sits on the TDC. There's 2 regional transportation boards, 2 RTAs. We have a 4-county RTA and a 3-county RTA in different counties. And the Gulf Transportation chairman typically sits on Gulf Transportation. ARPC, the Planning Council, chairman typically sits on the Planning Council. In this case, the chairman sits on it, and the governor appointee, Mr. Hammond, sits on that Planning Council. The Value Adjustment Board, the Apalachicola, Chattahoochee, Flint, ACF River System Board, the Small County Coalition, Canvassing Board, Riparian Counties Group Committee, also next page, Insurance Committee, Budget Committee, and Healthcare Trust Fund. So I just wanted, there's probably, Mr. Chair, there's probably something that I forgot, but let me say this, and this was not part of what I was going to say, but there's if there's room or time for someone to pick up one of these seats on one of these that's sitting on, that'd be good too. Time's limited. It's hard to make all these, but if somebody could, it's always, it's not as simple as taking these number of committees and dividing by 5, because it just doesn't work out, because people with different jobs, sometimes you're only off at nighttime, you're not off in daytime. But, Mr. Chairman, this is I wouldn't say all that, and and I'm here any amount of time you guys want to talk. The cheapest thing we can do is talk, and I have plenty of time. It doesn't matter to me when, during the day, evening, weekend, when the U5 commissioners can talk. Mr. Whitfield and I had a good conversation for a long time last Tuesday from all departments. We still got 2 or 3 departments we need to talk to, going around and sort of figure out what's going on. But what we want to do, Mr. Attorney, he's up next. Mr. Yeager, he's going to have to talk next because he needs to run and meet with DP at 10 o'clock down on St. Louis Bay on something very important on a piece of land. But if you don't have any questions for me right now, and I'm here for forever, but let Mr. Attorney, we'll take the rest of your time, and by the time everybody on this list gets like 5 minutes, we're going to use all our time up. But Ms. Clerk got her on the list next, and then the attorney.
Then the attorney. All right, sir. Thank you, Mr. Any questions? Thank you, Don. Madam Clerk?
Good morning, Commissioners.
Good morning.
Yeah. First of all, I'd just like to take a few minutes to introduce my staff that's here and faces that you'll see on a regular basis attending these meetings. This is Miss Leanna Roberts. She takes care of recording these meetings for you, among a lot of other things that you'll hear about later. And Rhonda Woodward, she's my Director of Finance and Management. And Sherry Herring, she takes care of the budget and special projects, grants, and whatever else I tell her to do. So, just an overview before I get into the details. The clerk has really 3 major responsibilities for the community and for you. One of those is, clerk of court. I'm the county recorder, and I'm also the accountant and auditor to you as Board of County Commissioners. In that capacity as clerk to the board, I'm actually the ex officio member of the board, non-voting member of the board. We are the auditor of all the things that you do as far as financial matters and paying your bills. We look over all of those in great detail, making sure that you follow your policies, that it serves a legal purpose, and that they're paid timely. I am the chief financial officer for you and serve as the controller and treasurer. You basically sit as the board of directors. You set priorities and goals, what level of service that you want, and I take care of the financial matters for you. As clerk to the board, I also maintain records pertaining to your official acts. That could be just the minutes of your meetings, county contracts that you approve in a board meeting, ordinances that you adopt, other official documents that you adopt or accept. As accountant and auditor to the board, I also do that, and I'm in charge of keeping your accounts and making sure that the monies are received and dispersed by the board according to state law, federal law, and reporting those to entities that we're required to report to. We also are responsible for investing surplus county funds for you, and serve as the treasurer in that capacity. And we'll get into a little more detail of what the clerk to the county commissioner is. And I give you a handout of this, and as I said when I handed it out, if you have trouble falling asleep at night, you can read a little bit of it. But it just hits some highlights. Like I said, we do so many different things, it's hard to kind of put it all in a summary form. Of course, we attend all your meetings. We do attend some of your committee meetings, but only those that we serve on as a part of that board. And we take the minutes of those. We transcribe those minutes, we publish those minutes, and submit them to you for approval. We record and index those minutes so that they're searchable on a database that we maintain in our office. We distribute those to your staff so that they can also have that searchable database of minutes for you. We maintain the legal custody of the seal, your county seal, which is really my seal. The county doesn't have their own seal that they've adopted with the Department of State, so we use the clerk seal. It's been used that way since we were a county established. We take custody of all your resolutions, ordinances, and official contracts that you adopt. We process appeals to the Value Adjustment Board and serve as the clerk to the Value Adjustment Board. Process all applications and conduct tax deed sales on your behalf. And what that is, when people fail to pay those taxes that we impose through ad valorem taxes, the tax collector and I work together in that process. And first of all, she sells certificates. Those certificates are held for 2 years by the purchaser. And after 2 years, that person, from 2 years to 7, that person can apply for a tax deed, which means that then it comes over to me and I process it for sale, advertising it in the paper. We hold a sale in the lobby of the courthouse. We post those tax deed sales on our website. So if you're ever interested, and it's a pretty interesting process, if you ever want to come and watch and be a part of that, we invite you to come do that. Those are handled on Wednesdays typically, but if we have one, they're going to be listed on our website. We maintain a list of lands available for taxes for you. We manage your, do records management and retention for the board records that are in our custody. And we don't do retention of records for those that you maintain in your administrative offices, but the official ones that we keep, we handle the records management on that and retention based on the standards set by the state Division of Archives. We are the public records request liaison for you. You have a policy on public records request, and in that policy that y'all had asked me to be the go-to person on that so that we could streamline all requests through one person, and then Ms. Leanna handles that. Someone from the public wants a record that you may have, they'll go to Leanna. We'll document it, we track it. We get it out to your staff if that's appropriate, or if it's our office that has to produce it, we do that. So we keep up with that for you. We schedule and notice all your meetings. We take care of all your advertisements. When you have a bid that you need to submit, that goes through Miss Leanna, and she will advertise it. We receive those bids in our office, and we do the processing of opening the bids as well for you. We issue utility permits, and we do the attestation for documents that you sign in your official capacity as the chairman signs, and I must attest. We do that. How am I going? Over? Sorry, should turn on this timer. As accountant and custodian of county funds, we provide accounting services for all your departments. And we follow the state standards on that, the generally accepted accounting principles. Actually, that's a national standard. We prepare your annual budget every year, and as Dawn mentioned, the main part when y'all might get involved with the chairman becomes March, but we actually get started on that in January. And that Sherry and Dawn and Michael and myself and Rhonda, we meet several times. We get down into the details of things to prepare a budget that is, efficient and covers the needs that you have set and the priorities that you have set. We maintain your fixed asset records, process your title and tags for your county fleet. We do your investments of your excess funds. We provide a lot of reporting that's a hard word to say when you're a little nervous. Statistical data to the state and federal and local agencies on your behalf. We process all your bills and expenditures. We audit those. Process your payroll. We manage your bond financing. Right now you have 2 of those. You have a road bond and you have the MSTUs that were recently adopted. And one thing that's really starting to get busy is your Restore Act funds, and we handle all that for you as well. Your reporting, making sure compliance of those monies are spent according to the federal guidelines as well. We collect and disperse sales taxes as well for you. Let's see. As the county auditor, we pre-audit your county expenditures before payment and make sure that they comply with board policy and contract project elements. We monitor your grants, your trust funds, your bonds, your Restore Act program from compliance as well. And then we put on our other hat, the clerk of the court. We attend court, file indictments, process civil and criminal cases, prepare appellate records. We oversee jury management. We collect and disperse fines for the state, the local law enforcement, yourselves. You have some ordinances that tack on a few extra costs for you. We conduct mortgage foreclosure sales, and we maintain the custody of evidence in those. We issue process, audit guardianship reports, audit child support payments, just a few. And then there's some more things listed on there for you. As county recorder, we record and index all deeds, mortgages, and on property. We process the tax deed sales as well. I mentioned that earlier. We record public defender liens and judgments and private liens. We take care of your maps and plats. As you'll see, you'll be adopting some of that through some of your processes here, and we take care of that, the plats for you. We collect and disperse intangible tax and documentary stamps as well. Some of the miscellaneous things that we do is we process marriage license applications. We do a lot of reporting on different things that we do, whether it's grants or bonds or just statistical data for other counties or agencies, federal agencies. We maintain record storage facilities, and we process passport applications and photos. So, and then there's a list in the appendix of here of some of my finance staff that you might want to become familiar with and what they do. So if you have any questions, you'll know who to go to.
All right, thank you, Ms. Norris. Any questions, gentlemen? Okay. Mr. Attorney.
Morning, Commissioners.
Good morning.
First, just wanted to touch on probably the last 3 weeks since you all took office and our two incumbent commissioners. You've all hit the ground running in regards to the legal department. I am your legal department, and we spent the last 3 weeks really reviewing some of the most time-sensitive issues that you all had to confront before the end of the year. Most importantly, your ethics training that some of you have already accomplished, and I greatly appreciate that. In reviewing today in orientation and the workshop purpose for today's meeting, just going down the list of some of the things that we've already discussed individually, each of the commissioners that you've all brought to my attention and I've brought to yours, is really just getting you all up to speed on some of the things that we've had put in place with regards to local county laws, policies, and procedures. Each of the new commissioners, as I've met with you individually over the last 3 weeks, and as we end the year, we've provided you a list of some of the county ordinances and policies. Most notably, we've reviewed the administrator ordinance that was adopted in 2014, the administration policy, the contract invoice authority policy, your advisory board appointment policy, your local bidder preference policies. Another important is your board rules of procedure and policy that was adopted in 2015, your information packet policy, your travel and expense policies, your advisory board term limit policies, your limited maintenance agreement policies, your personnel policies, your tourist development policy, guideline, application process, and ordinance. As I talked about earlier, your sunshine and public records policies, your leave no trace ordinance, your sign ordinance, and your RV ordinance. That is some of them. Each of the new commissioners, you all have a copy of some of these essential documents that we've reviewed, and we provide you all copies of them. And as we go forward in the coming weeks, I'm happy to discuss more of them with you on a one-on-one basis as to which ones are important, which ones you'd like to discuss. Some of the commissioners have touched on discussing them at future meetings and revisiting some of the language. As you heard from Mr. Butler, all the various lists that we touched on in terms of contracts, some of you commissioners have also mentioned to me some of the areas that you wanted to discuss. And going down the list, obviously, Mr. Butler spoke about the negotiated labor agreement on a 3-year contract cycle. Also, we've worked on the COBRA and the MSTU, your restore and your restorations, projects on the beaches, recently your road bond projects. and other vendor contracts that we're in the process of transitioning with the county. I'm happy to discuss all those with you individually. We've addressed the most time-sensitive issues one-on-one in the last 3 weeks, and as we finish out this year. And again, I'm always available and look forward to working with each of you. Thanks, Commissioners.
Thank you. Mr. Yeager? Nighttime meeting.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, Commissioners.
Thank you, sir.
I've talked with probably every one of you individually on Restore Act, and I'll be as brief as I possibly can. The way we got here is back in 2010, we had the oil spill, and so all of us were running crazy, especially on the closer end to the Escambia County and on towards the west, as to what we were going to do to prevent the oil from coming inshore and those type things. Well, finally they got the thing capped, and all of us, I say all of us, I have to give Grover Robinson, the county commissioner in Pensacola, credit for kind of gathering a lot of the county officials together and saying, normally when you have an event like this, like they had at Exxon Valdez, the monies from the fines go directly into the Federal Reserve and goes to general budget. And so Grover gathered us together and with Senator Nelson and Steve Sutherland, who was a representative at that time, and said we need something for part of these monies to come back to the affected states and counties and cities that this oil spill affected. And so we started lobbying Congress. We were able to, when Congress couldn't pass anything, we were able to get the Restore Act passed through Congress. And basically what that did is set up a vehicle where 80% of the fine monies went into a trust fund and comes back to the states and counties that were affected by this oil spill. What does that mean for you and for Gulf County? Specifically, there are two, and we call them pots. There's several different pots of money, and there's other monies that go to different agencies. But there's two pots that really will affect you specifically, and that's pot 1 and pot 3. And I'll talk about pot 1 real quick. Pot 1 was a percentage amount of the fine that comes to Gulf County. It comes directly to the Treasury and is earmarked Gulf County. And that money will be there as long as Gulf County is spending it, and the Restore Act will be in place until every penny is spent out of that trust fund. That amount of money for Gulf County is $18.8 million. That money that we thought that we would get a one-time payment so we could do some big projects immediately actually is going to be paid out over a 15-year period. And you'll have a chart in your packet there. So what we've got is payment each year over a 15-year period that comes to you. And the most important thing about pot 1 and pot 3 is at the end of the day, you 5 board members make the decisions on what you want to spend those monies for. Now, when we originally got involved with this, we had a Restore committee. They recommended several projects. Pat Hardman's in the audience today. She was one of those committee members. And the number one project that was ready to be done was the beach restoration project, and that's the project that the board has proceeded with, and we're a long ways down the road to getting that project started. Hopefully that project will be started maybe in March or April of next year. There's $2.8 million in that pot right now for you to spend on that. One of the keys for this Restore money is we wanted to make sure that we leverage those dollars. You have about 5 different pots of money that's coming to that pot, so it's a good project. It fits the mold of restoring the environment. There's certain criteria that you do have on what you can spend this Restore dollars on, but basically it's environmental or economic development restoration. So that's kind of where we're at on pot 1. On pot 3, it's a little bit different. There's 23 coastal counties in the state of Florida. All 23 make up the consortium. The consortium is putting together and working on a state expenditure plan that has to go to the governor for approval. What the main thing that the consortium had to figure out is how are we going to divvy this money up? So we probably spent 6 months on how do we do that. Finally, it come down to, after a number of different discussions, is we're going to split that money evenly amongst all 23 counties. Every county has got environmental projects or economic development projects that will affect the Gulf of Mexico. So that amount is about $12.8 million that effectively that you 5 board members will have control over on what you want to spend those dollars on. We're doing that plan with the consortium's putting that plan together now. Probably in the very near future, we'll have to have some workshops, and you'll have to decide exactly what you want to put those dollars on. The committee had about 6 or 7 different projects that we put in a multi-year plan for Pot 1, and it may be that you pick up a couple of those projects and put that in the state expenditure plan for Pot 3. So I don't want to go into too much details, but that's one thing that you need to be thinking about is Pot 1 and Pot 3. Ultimately, you board members make the decisions on where those monies are spent and what projects that you spend it on. I also wanted to mention one other pot, and Chris Holly with your EDC here today will give a presentation, I'm sure. And one of the things he may talk about is Triumph. Triumph is economic development money. And the state of Florida sued BP for economic loss during the oil spill. And before they even received the money, Senator Gates presented a bill to the state legislature that said 75% of that money would go to the disproportionately affected 8 counties, which Gulf County is one of. And so it's $2 billion total. $1.5 billion will go to the disproportionately affected 8 for economic development. They've established a Triumph board, of which Alan Bentz is the chair, that will kind of oversee that process. We just got news yesterday that the state legislature has put in a committee at the legislature level to kind of oversee the Triumph board, but they will be the ones that actually control those dollars. Now, it's very important, I think, and Chris may talk about this a little bit, about going into this legislative session to make sure we know where all the parts are, because Gulf County wants to get their portion of whatever economic development money that is, whether it be for the port, whether it be buying property to establish something, whether it be helping the railroad, whatever you decide, that will be another pot of money to keep in the back of your mind that in July of 2017 that money will be there. So that's another pot of money. If you would, I hope I've given you as brief a description as I could. In your packet, the Ocean Conservancy actually put this flow chart together, and it's a pretty good flow chart of where the money started, where the money's going. If you'll see the arrows down there, there's 5 pots that are in blue, and that's the 5 pots that we generally talk about. As the flow chart goes on down, it gives you a description of percentages that go to the counties and other things. And there's another flow chart, excuse me, on the next page that actually gives you a little bit more information. Both of them are good flow charts, and that's just something for you to have and read as the clerk said, get a little sleepy at night. The next page on that in that deal is actually the amount of money that's coming each year to the different counties, and it goes through, I think, 2021, and then it jumps to 5 years after that and that type thing. Basically, what it means to Gulf County is you're going to get about $1 million a year, except for year 2 it's reduced in year 2. But you're going to get about $1 million a year in that pot for the next 15 years that you will have access to use on economic development and environmental projects. So that's a good flow chart. I wanted to mention some of the other monies from BP because it's not just about Pot 1 and Pot 3. Your next page is Gulf County projects, and this is NERDA money, what they call Natural Resource Damage Assessment money. And there was 5 projects for Gulf County. If you'll see there, under estimated cost, it describes which projects they are. Gulf County Highland View Boat Ramp was one for $176.5, and it goes on down. The only one that's changed is Indian Pass Boat Ramp, because there was thought that we were gonna move the boat ramp. And so we took that money and added it to the Windmark, fishing pier down there. So that Windmark fishing pier is now increased by that 176,550 for that particular project. The key about these projects is it's administered by DEP. If they'd have just give us, Gulf County these dollars, I believe we'd already had a lot of these projects done. However, these are projects that are on their list. DEP is administering these projects. There's even one on there for the city of Port St. Joe. That one is actually administered by FWC. The rest of them is by DEP. So those are some projects. I just wanted to give you a little bit of a heads up about other monies that are spent. A couple more pages down, there's a early restoration projects, phase 3. One of those projects is nearly $2.7 million for seagrass recovery. Nearly all that money, depending on what their site assessments are, will come to St. Joseph Bay. So that's another $2.6 million that will be administered by DEP that's actually going into Gulf County and St. Joseph Bay. They've already used some of those dollars. I think that the TDC was involved with a buoy placement for some of the channels. So that was another project. The next sheet I put in there, I wanted to put that in there specifically. We don't have a project in that sheet yet. It's NERDA money, but it's for Florida coastal access. Now, we've been working, Don, we've been working nearly 2 years, probably a year and a half, 2 years, on trying to get some properties for access points for St. Joe Bay, because we just don't know have enough public access points on the Cape and around all around the bay. It looks like, and that's the meeting that Mr. Butler was saying that I'm going to have to attend to, it looks like we have finally found a parcel that DEP has already negotiated with the owner. They've got an offer and acceptance, and they're working on a contract, and that's a parcel next to Salinas Park. It's a 7-acre parcel that was owned by the Petronas Family Trust. They've had it for a number of years. It's right next to Salinas Park Bayside, so we can actually extend that park. The good thing about this money is not only do they purchase the property for public access, they develop the park, then they give you the keys to the park, and then they give you 10 years of what they estimate is operation and maintenance money for the county to maintain that particular parcel. So I guess my point in all of those, besides Pot 1 and Pot 3, is there's a lot of things going on with BP monies. But Pot 1 and Pot 3, you got direct control over. The others, we have some control. We can apply for these monies, and we can talk to the officials about how do we use them in Gulf County. But there's a lot going on with Restore. There's a couple of more sheets in there that tells you about a couple more projects. But with that, Mr. Chairman, I think that's as quick an overview as I could give you on all things Restore.
I have a question.
All right.
Sure.
I notice all the projects are along the coast or in the south end of the county.
Right.
I was going to ask that
Is
question.
any of this
Answer.
money above the intercoastal waterway? Is there anything for the north end of the county?
At the present time, with the monies that's coming from outside sources, no. They generally are using it on the coastline.
Who is
because-
they now? Who's-
like DEP or like this coastal project. If you look on that coastal project, coastal access project, that's the heading, is Florida Coastal Access Project. So an awful lot of these monies that are coming that you don't have control over, that are coming from other sources, are coastal projects or projects that are on in the bays or on the Gulf Coast. However, with Pot 1 and Pot 3 monies, your committee, which Pat was on, recommended some projects, City of Weewa on septic to sewer projects, and also some acquisition projects that could possibly be used by Pot 1 funds. And that's something that this board's going to have to come to terms with very shortly with Pot 3. And with Pot 1, you're going to have another $1 million in your pot probably in April of next year. So Pot 1 and Pot 3's got that capabilities But the other pots are generally coastal projects.
Your early restoration projects, where you got 5 listed,
Right.
who made those choices?
DEP actually picked those. There was a ask probably early on, right after the oil spill, and the ask was because that if you would notice when the oil spill started, the Raffiel's fisheries was one of the areas in Gulf County that they dispersed all of their monitors out. They dispersed not only boats, but people walking the beaches to monitor oil. Well, what that did was not only affect the Highland View boat ramp, but people would go out of that area and go to and launch Indian Pass boat ramp, or they would launch in City of St. Joe boat ramp. That's why the City of St. Joe got one. And so they were basically taking up the boat ramps, and what BP said is those boat ramps that were used in the monitoring of that process, we want to give back to the communities where they were used at. So that's how that project got started.
Thank you, sir. We'll go further one-on-one.
Absolutely, absolutely. Any other questions?
Thank you.
All right,
Thank
thank
you,
you.
Warren. I'll see you at the other meeting. Mr. Hammond.
I'll try to be briefer than Mr. Yeager. On the jail first, it's slightly important because it's your third largest budget behind Consolidated Public Works and the Sheriff's Office, about $1.4 million. 15 employees, of course, we're open 24/7. The biggest problem we have is population control and then the unknowns like medical and whatnot. I've discussed some of that with you one-on-one, but something that's not thought about every day. Everybody that comes in that has money gets money deposited in an inmate trust account. If they leave the next day, they get a check written to them. If they stay, it goes into that trust account and they can spend it for inmate welfare. The only thing we make money on is inmate welfare. Are we here now? The only thing we make money on is inmate welfare, but you can't spend it. So we have a huge inmate welfare trust fund, but it can only be spent for the inmates. So when you see them playing basketball, the basketball goal and the basketball and the chairs outside and the winter coats and things of that nature, all the luxuries get paid for out of that account. On probation, we run probation. As of this morning, we have 127 on probation. It varies. Slow times, it's about 100. High times, it's about 150. We've taken that only in-house at no more expense to the county. We handle probation, pretrial release, conditional release, pretrial intervention, and standard county court probation, not state probation, just county court probation. The other thing, as assistant to Don, I wear quite a few hats, but know a little bit about a lot of things and not a lot about a lot of things. But I handle the bond stuff for the county. TDC's under me, of course, on the budget committee, insurance committee, restore legislative priorities that you're setting. So I'm on call 24/7 with my jail job, so anytime you need something, you can call me and we can steer you in the right direction.
Thank you, sir. Any questions? Thank you, Michael. Mr. Cawthorn.
So I'm your Director of Public Works and currently your Director of Gulf County Mosquito Control. Mosquito Control, basically being handled by Austin Horton, which I'm going to introduce in a minute so you can put a name with a face on that. But as far as Public Works, right now we have 33 employees and actually 34 animal control is under Public Works, so that'd be 34. 26 of those are your bargain unit employees, which Mr. Butler was talking about the union agreement. That's 26 of them under that. Public Works, we have several different categories of budgets that we handle. We got the administration part, mosquito control, solid waste, detention and corrections, maintenance, and courthouse facilities. We have myself as your Public Works Director. Lee Collinsworth is your Assistant Public Works Director. Chris Wood is your sort of your road guy. He's out with the guys. Steve Mort is over the inmate crews. Austin Horton's over mosquito control. We have 2 secretaries in our office, either of which can answer work order requests at any time by calling the office. You're more than welcome to call me. The commissioners that are on staff already know that you call me or call Chris or call Lee. ever how you want to do it. Call the secretaries and they can get your work requests and we'll handle it. If we got an issue, we'll call you back. Work very close with Mr. Butler and Mr. Hammond. Do a lot of projects with the TDC and the EOC. GIS helps us out a whole lot. Do a lot with the county engineer. We partner well with the Department of Health. Ms. Marsh's here in the room. We have a very good relationship with our Department of Health here in the county. With mosquito control and Department of Health, we work well together. And Department of Corrections. On your detention and corrections, there's 10 crews in the county. We have state crews, we have county crews. There's 4 state and there's 6 county. And if you have not met them yet, and you would like to meet them one-on-one, you can get with me and I'll ride you around and we'll find them and we'll talk. It's good to be on a good basis with those guys. They do a pile of work in your districts. At maximum staff capacity, which is normally not, you can have 100 inmates in Gulf County working. Each crew provided 10 inmates. Now, inmate counts fluctuate, sort of like the jail inmates, and we don't have sometimes but 3 on a crew, but it fluctuates. But for the most part, and Mr. Ward could comment, I mean, they do a lot of work in the districts. They're a big help to what we do. If it's broke between the right-of-ways, call me, we'll fix it. We do road patching, we do culvert installs under roads, we do sign detail, I mean, the myriad of things. We've contracted out grass cutting and motor grading. It's the first year we've ever done that. We're sort of still in the trial period to see how that's all going to work out. Right now, so far, both of them are working great. If you have any questions at all, you can contact me on anything at any time. Phone's on all the time. I'm on one state board right now, Mosquito Control Association board. I'm just coming off of being the president of that association, still on the executive board, so I do some traveling with that. But with that, we brought about $18,000 more to our budget for me being on the advocating for small counties and need for help with that. There's other grant opportunities that we go after all the time. If it's available, we try to get, and it'd benefit the county, we go after it. But this time I'll let Lee come up and talk about landfills, and then Austin's going to give you a quick rundown of mosquito control.
Lee?
Good morning. Landfills, Mr. Butler had alluded to earlier, is a humongous project we're trying to get to the completion of. The landfill was 19 acres, had 2 sales that we were getting closed out, had a contractor come in to the tune of about $900,000 contract to close it, and it ended up being somewhere in the range of 150,000 cubic yards of gumbo and topsoil to cover the sales. Right now we're in the process of getting the grass to grow on the sales, which is the final step before DEP will come out and officially close the landfill. But other than that, is we have a 30-year monitoring process we have to go through on all of our landfills, St. Joe Dump, Buckhorn Landfill, the Wetapo site, and now 5 Points. So even though it's closed, there's still a lot of money and a lot of time put in quarterly inspections with DEP on all them sites. They come check for erosion problems, any garbage that's coming up, people dumping stuff at the sites. So it's a huge, probably one of the biggest projects that Gulf County has had, and thank goodness we're almost there. But that's one of the biggest projects I've been involved in as far as since I've been with the county, with the landfills. I know I've been out there with a couple commissioners to look at the site. If you have any questions on it, y'all got my number. I'll be glad to let you know where we're at, what we're faced with. I know Buckhorn has now come up. We just installed a $60,000 well that they found some water they wasn't happy with, so now that's going to go on for 30 more years. So there's always something that's going to come up that will be presented to the board from DEP that we'll have to address. But in a nutshell, that's where we're at with the landfill. Okay. Any questions?
Lee, you and Mark both did a great job. I've rode out to the landfill with you, and y'all did a great job. Saved the county a lot of money on that. I wanted to commend y'all for that. So.
Thank you.
Austin?
as he just said, my name's Austin Horton, Assistant Director of Mosquito Control. Mark covered a little bit of what we do in mosquito control. We have 4 full-time employees, all of which are licensed through the state. We also have 4 part-time employees who handle our spraying during the spray season. We have the county broken into 4 zones, 1 sprayer for each zone so that we get adequate coverage. In addition to just spraying, we also do larviciding, barrier treatments, education outreach and domestic inspections, source reduction, and surveillance. As far as larvicide, that's probably the most underappreciated tool in mosquito control. With larvicide, we're able to kill them before they hatch out and are able to bite people or transmit disease. Barriers, they're great as well. It's a residual product that we use in our parks and around schools. For education outreach, occasionally we'll go to the elementary schools here in the county and do a presentation, try to educate the students there so they can take that back home and share it with their parents. Source reduction, we work close with Public Works. We're housed in the same building. They've always helped us tremendously with eliminating standing water. As far as surveillance, we have 12 light traps that we run on a daily basis during mosquito season, and the state requires a collection of 25 or more mosquitoes in a trap overnight, or a landing rate count of 5 or more to justify spraying. As always, we're here if you need us. Come by and see us or give us a call.
Okay.
Thanks.
Ms. Adams?
Good morning, Mr. Chairman.
Good morning.
Commissioners. I'm Jennifer Adams. I've been with the Tourist Development Council since June of 2012. We started out with myself, Ms. Kapinski filling in, and 1 employee, and now we're up to 8 full-time employees. 5 of us are in marketing and administration, and 3 are out on the beaches. The beach team, they're on the beaches and in the parks every day of the week, year-round. This time of year, they're fixing things, so if you see them out and about and you need for them to do some more work outside of what Public Works and Maintenance does, please let them know. But really from April to October, we're on the beach 7 days a week. Our office is open 7 to 5:30, Monday through Friday, and then we adjust for holidays and weekends when we need to. I put in front of you, or Twan put in front of you, a mini TDC Bible. It's that black binder. Mr. Chairman, you have the big Bible, so we didn't give you a small one. In your first page in the cover, you'll see our meeting schedule. Finally, after 5 years, we've come down to 4 meetings a year with 1 annual meeting in the fall. They're noticed, and you're certainly welcome to attend any and all. I did put in there the Florida statute that governs the TDCs, 125.0104. In essence, it allows for the establishment of a TDC that collects bed tax on every overnight stay of less than 6 months. So after you read the clerk's material and everybody else's material, that will really put you to sleep. Right. The second tab is just a list of our current members. Based on state statute, you're required to have an advisory council of 9 members. I believe in 2012, before I came here, we initiated House rule and expanded it to 11 members. There are 4 bed tax collectors on the board, 4 tourism-related industry partners, Mr. Chairman, representing you all for the Board of County Commissioners, and then the city of Weewa and Port St. Joe has an appointed official. So there's 11 members. They do a fantastic job. They're extremely dedicated. In 2018, 4 of those members will be up for reappointment. So right now, the sitting board is in place until fall of 2018. The third tab is really important. It's a list. It's actually a copy of our standard operating procedures. We put this into place a few years ago, and each year we update it with our goals and objectives. We are funded primarily by 5 pennies. So for every dollar spent overnight, 5 pennies are collected as part of the tourism development tax. That is our major funding source. 3 of them are used for marketing and administration. 1 penny is used for beach restoration, and 1 penny is used for sports and parks complex. So if you look at that first page, you'll see we have just a handful of areas of focus. We focus on promotion and branding of Gulf County as a vacation destination. We run a partner-based program where each year our tourism industry partners actually pay to be part of our marketing plan and marketing program. We work with the clerk with making sure that those funds are collected and adjusted and spent in the appropriate manner. We take pride in operating that state-of-the-art welcome center, which will be going through some updates as we unveil our new brand. If you'd like to come on in and help us at this time of year, sometimes we see 100 people a day, so you're more than welcome to come chit-chat. Our winter guests have already arrived. We make sure that we are transparent in how we run the administration. It's very important to know that when we do our budget each year, it's based on projections, and we spend almost 2 months before we collect. So come April, when we are supposed, May, June, and July, we collect most of our revenue. I'm very crabby because we're going into our summertime and we've spent a lot of our funds because we work 2 months ahead of time. Under beach restoration, we work very closely with our coastal engineers, the Coastal Community Association, and everybody who's out there being ambassadors for the beach. Our Turtle Patrol, we have a great relationship with. In the summertime, we're responsible for maintaining and opening both gates, and people are lined up every day. So, but we need to be sure that the turtle monitoring and the shoreboard monitoring are all done in compliance with the statute. Each month, you'll receive in your information packet from me a monthly report. Gives you an idea of what we've done each month, the details about how much tourism development tax we collected. It also gives you your parks and recreational balance, which I'll go over in a minute. The next tab shows a copy of the slide deck that I presented to my partners for our annual meeting. We do it normally in early November, so when you read this from top to bottom, if you have any questions about where we are pacing, tourism from 2012 through this past summer has grown 78%. The next tab is this big sheet that folds out. I just put this in here. Each year in September, I put in my program of work for y'all to approve. This sheet details my marketing spend. Just wanted to familiarize yourself with it because each year it pretty much looks the same, but I didn't want there to be any surprises. We did, a few years ago, create, a Gulf County Film Commission, which is what we are also responsible for. That gives us a better, more opportunity to promote Gulf County without having to do any paid advertising. And then your last tab, your second to last tab, you'll see this spreadsheet here, which shows each of the district park balance. Each year, the TDC allocates $5,000 per district for your parks. We work with Public Works and Maintenance and the beach team to be sure that we're not spending it all in one place at one time unless we have your approval. So if you have a big project, one of us will call you and be sure it's okay. So you're not seeing that, $2,000 was spent on something that you didn't feel was appropriate. Finally, I put a copy in the last tab of the Leave No Trace ordinance. We're going into our 3rd year with Leave No Trace. We knew it would be a 3 to 5 year growing pains to get Leave No Trace out there and get everybody comfortable with it. Commissioner McCrone and Commissioner Rogers, we sure would like to have some more deeper discussion with you before we go into season. We were pretty creative last year. The TDC team decided to adjust their schedule. We got up at 5 in the morning, went out there before sunrise, talked to people, tagged some items. Unless Mr. Butler or you all give us the green light to remove the property, we don't remove the property. We didn't have to remove the property. When we did face-to-face you know, one-on-ones with people. They were very compliant. The problem is you have to go out a couple days a week, every week, because the turn day is Saturday. So you're talking to one set of people one day, and then the next week they're new. So it lasts for about 8 to 10 weeks, but we did it. But certainly would like to have some more discussion before we go into the summertime. There's more outreach that we can do. The TDC is responsible for the education of the ordinance. So we're gonna put some, billboards up like our neighbors to the west do and get with the frontline staff. The phones are gonna start ringing for summer booking right after the holiday, and that's when we wanna, get out in front of them. On that same note, beach restoration, we know we have, we'll have some beach restoration, projects underway this summer, and we're also waiting to hear the decision from FWC about our scalloping season. So potentially, we're going to be doing a lot of education this summer if all three, you know, come to fruition. But anytime that you wish to speak to me or Twan or Billy or any of my staff, please let me know. Any questions?
Everyone?
Thank you.
Thank you, Jennifer. Marshall? Hey, Mike. Hello, Marshall.
I'm Marshall Nelson. I'm your emergency management director, and we'll be going over briefly over the emergency management program and kind of show you the general layout of what departments fall under emergency management. And a lot of that is due to funding. Our primary responsibility, of course, is to support y'all and y'all's endeavors of carrying out the responsibilities that y'all have assumed as commissioners. So we are available 24/7, 365 days a year. We would, have you got, next? I got it. I got those, yep. Okay. I'm sorry. And anyway, we're available at any time to sit down and talk. Like I said, I'm available 24/7. 365 days a year. If you can't get around to us on the weekdays, then I'll come and sit down with you on the weekends. So please ask a lot of questions. There's a lot of things to learn across the county. Actually, I feel sorry for y'all. I couldn't learn all of it. So please ask questions. I know some of you have already been by. Our agency, emergency management, within the emergency management under the umbrella, we've got emergency management, and we also have the Office of 911, and then we've got the geographical information systems. With that, you just saw Rachel. Rachel is our, how long have you been with us now? 2 years? Yeah. She's gone through quite a learning process too. Has done an excellent job. Rachel is our staff assistant, and Jessica Suzik, okay, geographical information system. Ben Guthrie is our 911 coordinator. They all have responsibilities under emergency management. Ben and Jessica have shared responsibilities under 911 and the GIS department. So they'll be talking about that. Like I said, our primary responsibility is to support you. That's utmost important. You have hired us and gave us the ability to run your emergency management programs, your 911 programs, and of course GIS. I have put together kind of it seemed like in the past it was hard to come up here and within 5-10 minutes tell you what's going on. So we put together this reference guide, and basically what we've done is we've laid out the statutory authority, we've laid out the budget, we've laid out programs that fall under the emergency management umbrella. And we could talk for days on any of these programs. So like I said, I'm just going to hit the highlights. Any of these programs that you want to talk about, please come and sit down. I wanted to give this to you so that you could go back and have this so that you could flip through and see what it is that we do. And if there's any interest or anything that comes up under one of these programs, please contact us so that we can go into more detail. Statutory authority, we've laid it out briefly, in your packet, but also in section 2, we've gone a little bit deeper, which is quick references, so that you can see why we do what we do, statutorily. And it gives a brief description about some of the rules and some of the Florida statutes that we have to abide by. And then section 3 is just a running list, just this is Florida statute, this is what it says. And so it kind of gives you more of a quick reference. And also, this helps Jeremy, and as Jeremy helps us, he actually helped us put a lot of this together and put it into place, because sometimes you get lost in the Florida statutes and why you're doing what you're doing. That's not in 252, well, that's because it's over here. And so you got to kind of try to find where everything's at so that you can actually go back and see what the intent of the law is, so that we can meet the intent of that law. Staffing, we've gone over that. We have 2 full-time positions under emergency management, and we've got 2 part-time positions under emergency management. Rachel and myself are full-time. Ben's part-time is shared with 911, and Jessica's part-time and is shared with GIS. And I think right now it's being funded out of 911, right? And so we're trying to leverage our funds as best we can to keep people in place so that we can support you. As far as our budget, we operate off of a federal grant, a state grant, and then local ad valorem money. That's a match to those grants. Those are our 3 main pots of money in the budget. We also go after competitive grants and grants that comes up for whatever reason, before disasters, after disasters, or whenever something opens up under Department of Homeland Security, and we go out looking for other grants, like we're looking for now on the sirens, and we're actually going outside of the emergency management field, trying to pull money in from like NOAA, National Weather Service, or rural counties, stuff like that, trying to pull that money in, which normally doesn't fall under us, but if it's a specific project, then we go after that money. And basically, I'm going to leave it there. Instead of rambling on, like I said, I can sit here all day and go through this. Also, what I've given you is a book here. This kind of gives you an outline of what your responsibilities are as commissioners in the world of emergency management. It's a very good book. It's very brief, but there again, it's kind of a tickler file to say, oh, well, I didn't know I was responsible for that. As Jeremy was talking about earlier, you're starting to go through a lot of training, and it's going to be training that we will be getting to you on the emergency management side, things that you're going to need to know and responsibilities that you need to understand when dealing not only locally, but with the state and with the federal government. So this is a very good book. Please take it and read it. Any questions? Also, as I leave, welcome aboard new commissioners. You need an identification. If you will, come by our office and we'll get your picture and we'll get you identification. And so that way, people know who you are when you're out in the community. You won't get shot when you come back in after disaster. No, actually, there's a key also attached to it, which allows you unlimited access into the EOC. And so you'll be keyed there, so you can come and go at any time. It's your building. And then also identification will be attached. So, thank you.
Thanks, sir. Ben?
My name is Ben Guthrie. I'm not native to Gulf County, so There are a lot of people that don't know me, and I don't know them, but I have been here as an employee for 11 years, or in March will be 11 years. I've been married and living in the city of Bristol for 29 years. Got 3 children that are all in college right now. My experience in 911 comes from Liberty County. I was hired and given the task of mapping the county and setting up their first 911 system. And then I worked there for 8 years, 8.5 years before coming here. And I served in various positions while I was there. Hold a couple of certifications in emergency number professional through National NENA, which National NENA is the National Emergency Number Association, and also as a Florida Professional and Emergency Manager through the Florida Emergency Preparedness Association. I serve on Florida's E911 board as rural county representative of the 31 rural counties, and also serve in the Florida chapter of NENA on some committees. Gulf County has a Type 5 911 system, which means it's completely owned by the county. We're very unique in our system. We are the only regional system in the state of Florida. We have our system in conjunction with Calhoun and Franklin counties, so we share the costs of maintenance and equipment replacement. Type 5 means that all the databases that are used within that system are also owned by us, and we have access to them. We do pay Fairpoint to maintain them, and then I have to be on top of that with them to make sure that the information is correct. But many counties in the state are at the will of the telephone company. They have to pay a tremendous amount of money anytime they want to access that database, and we do not have to do that. We own it. Our system is a Solacom Freedom system. It's one of the latest and greatest. It's a state-of-the-art 911 system. After we were set up in 2011, I've had many phone calls from other states and actually from people in Australia who've modeled their systems after ours, and it's been a pretty neat experience to be able to work with people all over the country, and think that us in our little corner of North Florida have had influence across the country. As has been said, our 911 we are responsible for addressing here in the county. So if there's ever a question on any of that, feel free to contact us. We are funded through a user fee and grants. And I'm open for any questions if you have any. No? Yes, sir.
Jessica?
I'll probably be a lot faster than most. My name is Jessica Susich. I am the GIS coordinator for the county. Been here about a year. My handout's going to be a lot better than my public speaking, so I'll let you guys take a look at that if you want. Basically, GIS is Geographic Information Systems. Most people think of it as just mapping, but it's also analysis of anything that you can associate with any ground point on the earth. So I have done, throughout the packet, kind of put the benefits of GIS for all the different departments, whether it's emergency management. I've worked a lot with Public Works. I do a lot with 911. I've pretty much worked for just about every department in the county in one facet or the other. So I put an example of the types of projects that I've done for the different departments. Kind of give you an idea of what my department does, and if you need something like that, let me know. I also have the wide format plotter, so if you need any maps printed out, that'd be over in the EOC with my department. Towards the back, I put my goals. Like I said, I've been here about a year. Took a long time to sort through the data and see what was out there and what we had and where it came from and
Now I'm in the process of getting it all cleaned up and got lots of ideas. So my goals for the GIS department are in there as well. Short bio on the back kind of tells you where I've come from. Moved around a lot. Husband's in the military, so we've been here about 7 years. He switched from active duty to Florida Guard, so we're as permanent as military people can be in the area now, and we really like it. Contact information is at the bottom. I'm available just like everybody else here. If you need anything, let us know. Questions for me? Short and sweet. Just like me.
Okay, thank you, Jessica. Houston, just a moment, I'm going to skip here just a minute because of a meeting come up. Mr. Holly, sir, would you come on up now, and I'll come back to you, Houston, but we've got a very important meeting at 11 o'clock, and I've got to attend. So,
good morning.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
I'll be as brief as I can. Economic Development Office, 2 staff members, Leanna Sagans, my assistant. I think she's going to come up and talk a little bit about the grants work that she does. The office is relatively new in terms of the county, been there a couple of years. I've been on board about a year and a half. We have an advisory board. Mr. Butler kind of went over. We have a 9-member board. You appoint on alternate years half that board, so that will come up in the fall. What we do mostly is coordinate a great deal. Since this is under the county, we feel it's our responsibility to keep in close contact with the city of Port St. Joe, as well as we reach out to the city of Weewa. We have the Port Authority Board. They meet every month. We attend their meetings, trying to coordinate with them. Local Chamber of Commerce, we try to stay in touch with them. Obviously, a lot of work with our partners at the state level. You have Enterprise Florida, which is a state agency that does a lot of recruiting. Since we're such a small county, we don't have the budget to go out and recruit companies. We rely on referrals that come from our partners. There's also 2 regional organizations that do economic development work that we're part of. Opportunity Florida is what's called a RAO. There are 3 RAOs in Florida, and that's just the rural counties. And so that organization helps market and recruit for us. And then we're part of what's called the Great Northwest, which is a regional 13-county panhandle economic development organization. And a lot of work going on with both of those regional organizations, as you might expect, because of the Triumph money. Mr. Yeager spent a few minutes talking about Triumph, and once in a generational opportunity for the Panhandle to have dollars to put into economic development. Again, anytime you want to talk more about that, we can sit down and talk. And obviously the St. Joe Corp, who owns most of the property in our area, and obviously the port property and the old mill site, a lot of work with them. We do have projects that we work on, probably half dozen of them. Some of those that you know of, International Wood Group's a recent signee of a lease on the old Arizona chemical site, the 30 acres that the Port Authority owns. It's a wood chip operation, and they're just gearing up to start up. We've had a couple of different site visits from folks. There's a couple of projects that we're working right now. We do have 3 grants that we're working on. We've got a regional grant from DEO, Department of Economic Opportunity, another one of our state partners. There's a 4-county regional project that's along the A&N line, the rail line that runs through Gulf to Franklin, up through Liberty into Gadsden. So we're trying to do site work. Biggest challenges rural Florida faces economic development-wise is resource problems. We don't have product. When I talk about product, it's land that the county owns or the city owns. It's industrial parks. It's sites that are shovel-ready for a company that may want to locate in your community. So we're in the process of trying to identify sites, and then it'll be up to you all at some point whether you want to invest in a site, something that you actually control and can leverage. We also have a rail repair grant request in. Many of you know the A&N's been down. Has some maintenance work that needs to be done. Some of the trestles were damaged by fire, so we've got a $6 million request in to the state DOT to repair the rail, and we're waiting on hearing back from the state on that. We've also been part of a couple of different grants for site work, and we've submitted a site to Duke Energy. They have a site readiness program, and the old L&P site here just north of the tracks, whichever way is the right way to point. It's got a rail spur on it, it's high and dry, and about 92 acres that St. Joe's carved out for that side to work on. So I also kind of am on the legislative team because of my past experience with some lobbying, stay in touch with state legislators on issues that are important for the county. So that's a wrap up from the EDC.
Good deal. Thank you, Chris. Thank you. Houston.
I'm Houston Whitfield, your EMS director. I've been associated with EMS in Gulf County since 1974, about 43 years.
Right.
I actually made one of the first runs in Weewall on a new ambulance we got up there in 74. I also worked at Bay Medical Center 20 years and retired from there. Shortly after retirement, about 6 years ago, I was asked to be the EMS director here, and I've enjoyed every minute of it. Right now, we're covering the county with 2 ALS trucks in Port St. Joe and 1 ALS truck in Weehitchka. We have a fleet of 3 BLS trucks and 5 ALS trucks, and fixing to add 6th ALS truck, which we just received from a county state grant. We picked it up last week. About a year ago, we purchased another new truck under BP money. So we're in a building situation now trying to improve our fleet. We have 3 large ambulances down here which we're trying to replace and cut down a lot of maintenance on them. We're working on a third grant now for a second grant for another new truck which we'll station in Weehitchka. We have a staff of 10 full-time people, including myself, 5 of which are medics and 4 EMTs. And we maintain 25 to 30 part-time EMTs and medics at any given time. We're covering you 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. We're funded by collections that we get, along with some ad valorem taxes. To give you an idea of our collections, if we collected $80,000 a year on an average, a month on an average, and then you add that to the $70,000 we get from Indigent Care Fund tax, and a $36,000 fee that Mexico Beach is paying us to provide them service, along with the billing that we get from them, we would be collecting $1,066,000. Right now, the first 2 months of this fiscal year, we're averaging $89,500 per month, so we're ahead of our average. And our goal is to break even one day, so we're still striving to do that. Our call volume in 2015 was about 2,500 runs. We're up 2016 to about 2,800. To give you some ideas of what my job responsibilities are, and this is no particular order. I do all the scheduling for 3 trucks, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. I do the payroll, work closely with the medical director, who is Dr. Pablo. He's very good and very conscientious about what he's doing. He's also the medical director for the hospital ER. I work with public relations and public education. I do all the supply ordering and inventorying. I do all the QA on the run reports, which is about 2,800 a year. I make sure they got all the billing information, insurance information, and description of what's going on with the patients. Maintain training records for the employees we have. Work closely with the Florida Department of Health. We have to maintain a license with them and meet all their criteria. I'm in liaison between the hospitals that we visit and Gulf Coast Community College, which does some of our education. We develop a working budget and try to maintain that budget, stay in it. I'm also operator of a QRV that we use when we have all the trucks out and need some backup assistance. We also maintain the DEA license and all the records involved with it, and whatever else comes my way. So I'll be glad to meet with y'all anytime on an individual basis and show you what we got and take you around, show you what we need and what we are doing.
Any question for Houston? Houston, you do a marvelous job for us, and I started in '74, you and I together on this stuff, so I know how a little bit on it. Joe, let me ask you if you would, Ms. Lindeman, you're part of, with the health, you're not on the, agenda, but do you have anything that you would like to come up before the commissioners? I know you wear a lot of hats, and, not only you care for Gulf County, you have Franklin also.
I do.
And the state of Florida
Yes,
also,
sir.
so please.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I am Marcia Lindeman. I'm the administrator of the Department of Health here in Gulf County and Franklin County, like Mr. McDaniel said. We are a state agency, but there are health departments in every one of the 67 counties in the state of Florida, and we work in partnership with county government and appreciate the partnership that we have. In Gulf County, I have 28 employees, about a $1.8 million budget, about the same thing in Franklin, about a $1.8 million budget and 31 FTEs. The administrative team of these two health departments covers both. They have one administrator, one director of nursing, one business manager, and one environmental health manager. So we saved a lot of money when we took two counties and just gave one administrative team. You know, if I could just use two words to try to help you understand just really quickly what the health department does in each county is to protect and promote public health. And really quickly what that means is we're trying to protect the people of our county from diseases. Diseases from other people, diseases from animals, diseases from the environment, the water or the ground. For example, how we protect people from diseases from other people is we have immunized 100% of our kindergartners and our 2-year-olds in Gulf County. All their immunizations are up to date. This season, this flu season, we have provided more than almost 1,000 flu vaccines. Over 300 of those flu vaccines were given to the children in the public schools in all the 4 schools of the county. We do TB outbreak investigations. We had 3 active TB cases this past year, and with more than 20 contacts. And so there was a lot of time spent in the community doing contact investigation and directly observed therapy to move these active TB cases to cures. So talking about diseases from animals, we investigated more than 41 animal bites this year. Fortunately, any of the animals that we did test were tested negative, so we didn't have to do rabies vaccines, but normally during the summer season we do a lot of animal bite testing and provide quite a few rabies vaccines. We had a huge campaign this year with our mosquito control partners on trying to educate the community how to protect themselves from diseases against mosquitoes. Zika was the one you heard about, West Nile, chikungunya, other diseases as well you can get from mosquitoes. So we work very closely. There's no magic answer to mosquito diseases, except everyone has to do their part to prevent those mosquitoes from growing and breeding where they live. From the water, we do beach water testing in the warm months of the season every year, checking the water for levels of bacteria. We didn't find any abnormal levels of bacteria this year, didn't have to close any of the sites where we test. The things that I will remind you, though, about the bacteria that's in water, you can get in the warm water during the warm months of the year with a wound and get a pretty serious infection. You can also eat shellfish or seafood, particularly shellfish like oysters, in the warm months, and you can get very ill from that because those bacteria counts are higher in the summer months. We did have someone this year who was sick from ingesting oysters, and we did have someone who got very ill from a wound infection from the high levels of bacteria. We deployed 6 people in our health department down over to the Volusia and Putnam counties after the Hurricane Matthew to help with the facility assessments to make sure that it was okay for residents and clients and patients to go back to nursing homes and assisted living facilities in all the areas where they had to evacuate. I'll go on more later. We promote health all kinds of ways, reducing tobacco. We're in the churches helping folks learn how to live healthier lives. We're in the schools doing the same thing. I hope that each of you can come to the health department. I'd love a chance to be able to tour you through there and really let you hear a lot more about what we do. But we protect and promote public health. That's what we do. Any questions for me? Thank you so much for giving me a few minutes.
Thank you. Joe? Gotta go to, I'll get you right after Joe. Okay. Okay. Go ahead, Joe. You have it.
Good morning.
Good morning, sir.
Appreciate the opportunity. I am Joe Paul. First of all, I am your County Veteran Service Officer as well as your ship administrator. I became employed here in September of 2013 as a Veteran Service Officer. I've got to tell you, and some of you have probably heard it, it is the very best job I have ever had. And I'll soon be 70 years old. So I've had a few jobs. When I came on board here, the compensation and pension for this county, the input money coming into this county from the 1,790 veterans we have registered with the VA was $5,700,000. That's a good chunk of money coming into the county every year. For 2015, my report to the county was the amount that's been increased is $10,087,000 per year coming into this county. Currently, of the 1,790 veterans that we have enrolled in VA healthcare, I maintain 1,779 of those records. So we've got it pretty well covered, and that includes the ones that, there's some recent ones that have passed away, and that's why our count's a little bit lower, but we got new ones coming in, and our count next year will be about the same. That doesn't include, and I told someone earlier a wrong figure, Mr. McCrum, it may have been you, but there's 534 retired veterans in this county that also bring in $1,500,000 a year to this county. So we're talking bumping $12 million in veterans coming into this county. I see veterans on Tuesday and Wednesday. I see them by appointment. A lot of times I have a lot of walk-ins and I have to kind of work them in between appointments. But I'm very happy with the people that I see. I saw 976 veterans last year alone in my office on Tuesdays and Wednesdays. Also, I am the Gulf County Ship Administrator. I had the unique opportunity that Mr. Butler kind of dangled the carrot in front of me because he said, do you want to be full-time? And I said, sure I do. And they gave me the opportunity to take over the Gulf County Ship Program. I've had that program now for almost 2 years. I am responsible for the $350,000 that we get each year from the Florida Housing Finance Corporation to rehab houses or help purchase assistance houses for people in the low, very low, and moderate income families. Occasionally we do get one that's in the extremely low income, and of course we help them as well. Currently our primary function in doing this is that we have to spend 20% of the money helping people with disabilities, developmental disabilities being first, and working our way through that even down to veterans that have disabilities. Just a side note, currently we are expending the 2016-17 funds that we just received in October. I anticipate by March, without any delays, to be out of money, which is a good thing. That's probably the only time you'll hear anybody say they're out of money and it'd be a good thing. Currently we have $87,500 for 15-16 money and 16-17 money encumbered for the PACES Foundation for the project called Gateway Manor. I think it's still Gateway Manor, isn't it? They haven't changed the name on it, have they?
On the PACES.
I think so.
Still Gateway Manor, I believe. Point of reference, about 3.5 years ago, the current board that was sitting where you are now committed $300,000 in leveraging funds to help Paces qualify for the home grant they got, which was approximately $10 million to complete this project. That's why I have the $87,500 encumbered for each year to help cover that $300,000. We are required to maintain 25% of our funds for that, and that's the most we can spend in any one year. So I have that money encumbered twice right now, and if they're still building on the project next year, we'll have it pretty well covered where we can get the majority of that $300,000 covered. I would love to meet with each of you. I have spoken with all of the new commissioners, and we do have a new commissioner who is actually a veteran. I, of course, have a heart for veterans, and I love it. I love what we're going to do at Beacon Hill, and I'll be happy to meet with any of you if you'll call me and sit down with you and tell you what we do and how we do it. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Joe. All right, Deanna, let me do, Mr. Lowry, sir, do you want to come on? Are you
Yes,
gonna
sir.
work off that mic?
Yes, sir.
All right, thank you, sir.
I'm gonna be short and sweet.
All right.
Within the planning department, the first thing you probably think about is our planning board. We do have a planning board there that consists of 5 members. What come before those 5 members? Variances, subdivisions, major and minor commercial developments, land use changes, and abandonments. What those items are typically, there'll be advice given, and what they'll do is recommend those items to you, yay or nay, or they may table it, and it'll come straight to you. All that is a recommendation, and then you will have a final vote under a quasi-judicial hearing process that I can go and explain to you later on individually, because that will take some time. But that's pretty much what happens under our planning board is basically the recommendations to you all. Secondly, we work extremely close with the building department. George and I probably meet 2 or 3 times a day. It's not really set up meetings. He comes over in the mornings and then comes once over in the afternoons. We discuss what site plans, buildings that meet or don't meet flood that we need to address. We also review elevation certificates together within our office. But we work extremely close with each other there. Thirdly, in front of you, in our office, we handle the Gulf County Comprehensive Plan. That's basically the Bible that is the county's Bible regarding land use. That is reviewed every 7 years under our evaluation appraisal report, and that is then sent to the state for their review and approval. Under that, you have your LDRs, which are your land development regulations. Those regulations are, I pretty much look at that every day. If we have a development, commercial development, anything that parking, density, anything that we need to go there to look, it's there, and if you want a copy of it, I'll be glad to make you a copy of it. Floodplain administrator, that's another one of my roles. Currently, we are reviewing the new FEMA firm rate maps. That's a hot topic right now. If you've got any questions regarding those maps, you'll get questions from your constituents, left and right. Send them to me. Feel free to send them to me. I don't mind seeing them. We get numerous walk-ins in my office. We get numerous phone calls every day. We're a very busy department. Other thing I wanted to mention is CRS, Community Rating System. It's an item that falls within FEMA, and you'll hear about that later on next year as far as a new rating coming out, and I'll explain that individually to you all as you come by. Also, I did want to say, as As you know, I serve on the city board as well, but I look forward to working with all you there in that capacity as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Brett. Deanne, you have anything?
I just printed out a spreadsheet for each of you that I used.
Our grant writer.
Grant straight. Hi, I'm Leanna Sagans, the grant coordinator for Gulf County. I also work for Chris. I'm his assistant, so I kind of do a dual purpose. We have 7 active road grants right now. We have 2 that have been awarded for 2018 and 2019. And then we also have 7 other grants, which include our park grants, 3 EDC grants. We have a couple EMS grants. I've recently applied for a fire grant and working on another EMS grant. So normally how it works is a department head will have a need. They'll come to me and ask me to help them look for a certain grant. I'll help them find it. I'll help them apply for it, and then I'll administer the grant. All the invoices go through me so that I can keep track of the spending and make sure that they're spending according to the grant contract. So if any of you have any projects that you're interested in that might need grant funding, I'd love to work with each of you, and you can just bring me all the projects you have and I'll do my best to find you some money. Any questions?
Thank you.
All right. You're welcome.
Does a good job for us people. George?
Gentlemen,
Come on.
those of you that don't know, I'm George Knight with the Building Department, and just a brief overview. In the Building Department, we administrate, facilitate, and coordinate all the building construction in unincorporated areas of Gulf County. We do not administer anything inside the city limits of Fort St. Joe. We do, however, cover the city limits of Hitchcock, okay? And we do that through 3 basic texts. We do that through, first, the Florida statute that tells us pretty much how we have to operate, what the construction industry licensing requirements are, how we're to administer the building department, how we set fees, and so forth and so on. The second part of that text is the building code itself, and it pretty well tells us everything we need to know about how these buildings should be built, constructed, all the systems in them, mechanical, electrical, plumbing, all that stuff is right there. 10,280 pages of books, so we spend a lot of time in the books. I've got a staff of 3, including myself. We are all pretty busy during the day. We handle a lot of issues in and out. Sell a lot of permits, averaging right now about 100 a month. Each one of those are reviewed and permitted according to the code. The third thing of that, of course, is the LDRs, which Brett referenced to. Those are also incorporated into the whole building department administration, and we deal with 20, 30, sometimes as many as 40 people from the public during the day. Most of them walk away real happy. Unfortunately, some of them do not. That's just the nature of our business, and I can promise you guys, you're going to probably get some phone calls about some decisions that we make, things that we do people don't agree with or don't understand. My promise to you is that no matter where they come from, which end of the county they live on, whether they're full-time residents or summer visitors, they'll all be treated the same way. They'll be treated equally according to the books, and that's the only way we operate. I'm always there at open door anytime. If y'all have any questions, feel free to come by. Okay?
Thank you, George. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're down to Denise. You're next with Human Resources, and then the final one will be Lynn with the Central Services Directors. You have to skip out. I've got a very important meeting with Representative Bashir. Said it's at 11 o'clock, Don. Denise and I, we meet several times a week anyway, so.
You guys have been given an abundance of material, and what they forgot to tell you is there's a test at the end of the presentation.
Yeah.
I've met with all of you at various points, but just wanted to give you an overview of what it is I do. I handle insurance, all insurance, basically. So what I try and do is minimize all exposure for the county for property, auto, liability. We do have an insurance committee. I sit on the committee. We look at our options and then bring the best options to you all to vote on. Hopefully they're the most cost effective as well. And that's not just for the property casualty, that's also for your health insurance. We are currently in the second year of our property insurance, and we will go out for bid this year. We'll start looking at insurances probably about March for the property casualty insurances. It is a process in itself. It takes several months to gather all the information for the various insurance companies because they all want it laid out differently. But hopefully we'll have some good quotes this year. We had some bad work comp claims, so our work comp mod was significant. It was a 1.46. It's down to a 1.3, which is still extremely high. It will come down. Unfortunately, the work comp industry has gone crazy, and all work comp insurance will be high this year. We're not sure where it's going to end up. The powers that be have not decided where it's going to end up. It's looking anywhere between a 14% increase and a 19% increase across the board. They still haven't told us yet where it's going to end up, but it will be higher. Hopefully the property insurance will be lower and it will all balance out. We'll see come October. I also work closely with all departments for their staffing needs. So when they have an opening, we post, recruit, and fill those positions with the most qualified people for their departments. I try and keep up to date with the federal and state laws, regulations. I currently have a new personnel policy that I am extremely close to finishing because there have been multiple changes in laws and our policies haven't been kept up to date. So that will be brought to you in the next couple of months for approval and adoption. Again, I administer the health insurance for all for the board and the constitutional offices. We handle all that. We do not handle work comp for the sheriff's office. They have their own, but we do handle work comp for all the other constitutional offices. And then I work closely with Public Works, with the union, to resolve all those issues. We have had some issues in the past, but most of them have worked themselves out, and we usually don't have any problems with that. So, but we are, as Don alluded, we are in the third year of a 3-year contract. We will start looking at that and open negotiations probably in June, July, for another 3-year term. So, any questions? You all know where to find me. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Leah?
Yes, sir. I recently became the Central Services Director. I work directly in administration. My main goals are projects issued to me by Mr. Butler. Several of those projects right now, for several years we've been working on the Habitat Conservation Plan. We are working on a 4th draft, hopefully to be presented to the board, hopefully in January. The phone systems, repairs, billing, contracts, development, we recently went out for bid and awarded a new voice over IP system for the county in hopes to be a budget savings for the board, as well as to coordinate our communications with all of our departments, and that would include everything from TDC to the sheriff's office, the substation, elections, investigators, as well as all of our facilities here that currently have VoIP are all going to one system. So I've been coordinating that with the phone company. We hope to have that project completed by May of next year. We also recently, as Mr. Butler stated, began a new creation and coordination of a new website. I've been working with the vendor on that, and we hope to have that project completed by March of 2017. I assist administration with the creation and content of our agendas for the board meetings, contracts, execution of contracts and review for accuracy, and renewals. We have been working recently on an annual report for the board. Those will be coming shortly. I assist Mr. Yeager with the Restore. I assist him with applications, approvals, policy creations, the MYIP process that he mentioned. I coordinate with the consultants, Treasury, the clerk's office, keeping current on all of the allocations, the planning, other counties and organizations who have all coordinated and worked together on the Restore process. I also assist Mr. Yeager in creation of the period performance reports and all of the data entry for Treasury and for several different websites that we have to maintain those records. I assist department heads with their day-to-day issues, policies, procedures, whether it be budget or policies if they need assistance. I assist in creating bids, RFPs, RFQs, and I attend all bid openings with the clerk's office on behalf of the board. I assist in all of the bills for the board and administration as needed, whether it's approvals or payments as needed. I assist with Ms. Summers in signing checks on behalf of the board. She and I work with the budget process with Mr. Butler and Mr. Hammond. Several committees that I sit on are the budget, the Habitat Conservation Plan, Restore, Insurance, Animal Control, and any others as needed. I assist in coordinating meetings for staff, administration, as needed as well. One of the state mandates is the Health Care Resource Act for the county. It's called the HICRA program. State mandated, I believe the budget for that every year we have to maintain is a little over $52,000. The state recently changed how they maintain that program. It's become much more intensive. Several years ago, simply we had the money, an out-of-county agency requested money for indigents that were not Medicaid eligible and met a criteria. The money for those bills, a percentage of those went to pay for those indigent persons. The state went in and mandated, legislature mandated how that was reconfigured, and so the process has become much more detailed. So I work with the health department in all of those approvals and maintain that program for the county. In the last 2 years, the program has not paid out any funding because the participants have not met the eligibility requirements. So I could go over that with you if you'd like individually. I assist our IT with cell phones and computer issues as needed for the board, repair, purchase, and maintenance. I assist with tower maintenance, repairs, bids, and all of those things associated with our communications, and assist in maintaining the records for the board administration. As I said, policies and procedures, and I also assist with all of the board email and public records inquiries.
Thank you, ma'am. Did we miss anyone? I think we pretty well got it covered then. All right, commissioners, y'all got anything before we? Nope. Huge thank you to everyone that came out. Huge thank you to the staff for providing us with that valuable information. I guess at this time we need a motion. Need a motion to adjourn
So moved.
for dismiss.